Hi everyone, it's me, Beatty Cali Sunflower. So I'm on today to unbox decks that have recently entered my collection. I think I'll do two separate videos. I don't know which one to... I'm going to choose this one. Let me do this one here. Shadow Seer Tarot, a night vision and dark archetypal deck. This was a pre-order deck that arrived a few days ago. Who published it? Destiny Books. I don't know who that mass market publisher is. A tool for shadow work and divination. The Shadow Seer Tarot deck and guidebook gives methods to see through the blind spots of ordinary tarot readings into the heart of what is often hidden. Using Hermetic principles, Magia de Ors, so if I pronounced that wrong, defines oppositional energies as they relate to the cards of the tarot, with the archetypal methods of reconciliation through opposition. She looks deeper into the familiar meanings of the major and minor arcana to give readers insight into the shadow energies at work in their lives to reveal a path towards wholeness. By inverting the stereotypes and revealing their shadow side of archetypes, Magia opens the portals of understanding to the bad behaviours that we often attempt to conceal, repress or deny. For example, the shadow forms are represented in the suit of cups by the cards such as the toxic family and the glutton addiction and betrayal. In the suit of wands, the dark side of our drives and passions are exposed in cards like propaganda, slander, the false martyr, and the avoidant, working with our secret shadows rooted in the underworld, and our ancestors revealed deeper truths and more balanced perception of the world. And then the creator, Magia de Ors, I can't pronounce her name, I have tried, is a practicing witch and scholar of alchemy and occult law, who has been reading tarot professionally for more than 20 years. She is the author of The Familiars in Witchcraft, The Occult I Ching, Astrology of the Shadow Self, and the creator of the White Witch Tarot. She lives in Los Angeles. Okay, so let's open this up. I can smell the paper. So it comes with a nice magnetic box, which I like. I love the black and yellow combination. I think it's a really nice combination. It comes with a guidebook, and the cards are side by side. So let me take out the cards. So let's have a look at the guidebook first. So the guidebook has 243, 44, 45, 246 pages, and night vision and dark archetypal texts. So this deck was published in 2026. So it gives you a little bit of a blurb there. I love the contents page. It's clearly written out. So it's got navigating the sea needs, ancestors, reclaim and shadow work, a vision of hand, how to use the Shadow Seer Tarot, and then it talks about each of the cards. So the major arcana looks like they've been renamed. So the Fool, the Magician, whatever, but it's got like keywords that describe each one. And it does that for each of the suits. So the cups, the wands, the pentacles, and swords. And it talks about the author. So it's written more like a novel to me. So it's quite a nice book. This is the author here. And the blurb is very similar to what was at the back of the book. It gives you books of related interest as well. So let's have a look at the cards. These look like they're a bit smaller than a regular Rider-Waite Smith deck. Let me compare them to my Rider-Waite, just for size. Yeah, as you can see, they're a bit shorter, well, a lot shorter, and yeah, they're shorter. I like that they've got black background and white and yellow. I think they go well. These are the backs of the cards, which is just like hands. So the 4 is called Hubris. The Magician is the manipulator. The High Priestess is the abandoned bride. The Empress is the cannibal mother. The Tyrant is the Emperor. The Skinwalker is the Hierophant. Look at all the eyes there. Nemesis, the Lovers. The Swamp is the Chariot. Frailty is the Strength card. Spectator is the Hermit. The Curse is the Wheel of Fortune. Bureaucracy is Justice. Pity Party is the Hangman. Oh dear, the Murderer is Death. Some strong keywords here. Impulse is Temperance. The Scapegoat is the Devil. The Gaslighter is the Tower. Forlorn is the Star. The Deceiver is the Moon. The Destroyer is the Sun. The Punisher is Judgment. Apathies is the World. So let's go into the Suit of Cups. So you've got the Ace of Cups is hatred. Very strong words. 2 of Cups, betrayal. 3 of Cups, debauchery. 4 of Cups, indulgence. 5 of Cups, misery. 6 of Cups, spoilt brat. 7 of Cups, addiction. 8 of Cups, rumination. 9 of Cups, the gluten. 10 of Cups, toxic family. So you've got the Page, the conman. Interesting. The Knight, the player. The Queen, the female fatale. And the King, the diva. So moving on to the Suit of Wands, you've got the Ace of Wands, propaganda. The 2 of Wands, the colonizer. The 3 of Wands, quid pro quo. I don't know what that means. Let's have a look at the other. So you've got the 4 of Wands, divorce. 5 of Wands, rivalry. 6 of Wands, self-righteousness. 7 of Wands, the King of the Hill. 8 of Wands, slander. 9 of Wands, ego wound. 10 of Wands, the false martyr. Oh, it's really raining outside. So you've got the Page of Wands, which is the avoidant. The Knight of Wands, the abandoner. Queen of Wands, vanity. King of Wands, irascibility. I don't know what that word means. So you've got the Ace of Pentacles, element domain. 2 of Pentacles, usury. 3 of Pentacles, the cult. 4 of Pentacles, jealousy. 5 of Pentacles, the parasite. Oh dear. 6 of Pentacles, the agranzi. Or the agranzer. 7 of Pentacles, pride. 8 of Pentacles, the slave. 9 of Pentacles, the copycat. 10 of Pentacles, the legacy. So you've got the Page, which is the validation seeker. The Knight, which is the slum lord. The Queen, which is the madam. The King, which is the machinator. Moving on to the Suit of Swords, you've got the Ace of Swords, Purity. Two of Swords, Vaccination. Three of Swords, Self-Pity. Four of Swords, Suicide. Some very strong words here. Five of Swords, Narcissist. Six of Swords, the Polondra. Seven of Swords, Appropriation. Eight of Swords, Paranoia. Nine of Swords, Dread. 10 of Swords, Annihilation. So you've got Page of Swords, which is gossip. Knight of Swords, which is violence. Queen of Swords, which is the prude. And King of Swords, which is the merciless. This deck's got quite strong energy. So what I want to do, I want to look at the book and see if there's any spreads. Before I go into my first impressions, because it's quite a strong deck. It doesn't have any spreads in this book. Let me see. No, there's no spreads. So let me shuffle a card and see what the book says about the card before I give you my first impressions. Let's see how these cards shuffle. Oh, they're very smooth to shuffle, maybe because of the size and because they're quite glossy. So you've got the Eight of Swords, Paranoia. Let's just bring it down a bit so you can see the picture, and then let's have a see what the guidebook says. So it says here, Eight of Swords, Paranoia. There is no such thing as paranoia. Your worst fears can come true at any moment. And then she's given a quote for that. A lot of people think paranoia is a marker of addiction or mental illness, but it is also a condition rooted in abuse and a shadow behaviour. When we have been made victim or are afraid we will be, we can enter a state of always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Paranoia means we wake up, fear that isn't there, seeing harm or potential for harm in everything, and harbouring unsuspicions about our loved ones. Paranoia is a way the brain has to let its defences go into overdrive. Justified as this is, it causes us harm and isolates us from others we need to depend on. In my studies of Chinese medicine, I learned that an allergic reaction is the physical equivalent of a paranoid response. I have always found it so strange that the body would rather die than digest a peanut. The peanut doesn't kill the person, the reaction to the peanut does. I feel from a purely personal poetic view that paranoia is much like a peanut allergy. The defense system has been triggered and needs treatment, but because paranoia doesn't present in an obvious physical way like a peanut allergy, it can go untreated. There are also justifications for paranoia. If we are being mistreated or betrayed, paranoia could be trying to warn us about something that isn't right. At its root, regardless of the scenario playing out, the dark archetype stems from an inability to come up out of a state of fear. The individual, in their fear of others, isolates more and more and becomes more paranoid. The loss of the trust begins to seep in elsewhere, and deep insecurities form a distrust of life itself. A male client once complained that he was dating someone who was toxically going through his emails behind his back. He felt very offended that she did not trust him at his word. I asked him if he knew whether or not she had ever been cheated on, and in fact she had. Why it doesn't justify the behaviour, it explains there's an unhealed paranoia that a past trauma would repeat, and he understood the root of this explanation, which enabled him not to take it personally. If you have pulled the paranoia card, is someone out there to get you, or are you out to get someone? Are you suffering some effects from a past experience? Either way, take this dark archetype seriously and get some opinions from trusted friends and professionals for your self-care. Remaining in states of fear without healing will not feel very good. If you see someone who has descended into this state, it is important to recommend that they get some assistance, even if they don't trust you. Oh, this book's quite deep. So what are my first impressions of this deck? I think that if you're going to write, this is my own personal opinion, yeah, so don't get me for this, but I think if you're going to write such statements in the guidebook, I think that people should have experience, either be a therapist, or, you know, or someone that works in the kind of mental health kind of field or therapy field. And I'm not sure whether the creator is a mental health practitioner. It does say that she's a witch, but it doesn't actually say that she's a practitioner. So she's given quite strong views on her personal opinion rather than medical evidence, and that kind of frightens me. With regards to the keywords in this deck, I find them a bit too much. This is why I like shadow decks that kind of pick me up and that are kind of comical, because these sort of decks with very strong keywords and very strong kind of negative opinions really do rub me up the wrong way. And that's why I try not to usually get these type of tarot decks that are, well, tarot shadow sort of decks. But I'll give it a go. This is my first impression, and sometimes your first impression isn't always the absolute impression. But if I'm honest with you, I'm not actually liking the keywords, but that could change. So yeah, this is a good shadow deck for people that like that sort of deep keyword. But for me, that they're a bit too harsh, they're a bit too deep. And also, you know, what I've just read out, I just think that if you haven't got like a kind of mental health or therapy background, you shouldn't be writing that sort of information without the experience or the evidence to back it up. It's just a personal opinion. And you know, to me, paranoia is a mental health state, and I think that, you know, it's down to the professionals to kind of like diagnose and treat that rather than a reader. This is why I personally do believe that you can be both. You can be a therapist that reads tarot. I don't feel that people who haven't got like medical training should be given that sort of advice. It's too deep. But that's just my own personal opinion. I like the artwork. I like the size of the cards. I like the cardstock. I don't usually like shiny cards, but these ones are okay. So I'm going to do an interview spread of this deck at some point and try and work with it. Probably around Halloween. I won't work with it straight away because it's a bit scary. But I hope I do gel this deck. I don't want to you know, have a negative opinion with this deck until I've worked with it. So thank you so much for watching. I will leave links to this deck in the description bar if anybody's interested. Bye for now.